Imagine this. You run your AI agent in production, but instead of delivering clean data, it spits out a broken JSON file that crashes your pipeline. Your dashboard goes blank, logs flood with errors, and your customer sees nothing but silence. Now imagine the same agent, same model, but this time, the output is perfectly structured, auto-validated, and production never skips a beat. That's the difference between unreliable free-form text and structured outputs with JSON schemas and Pydantic. Today, you're going to learn how to guarantee reliability, force models to respect your structure, and unlock the true power of function calling in AI systems. And trust me, once you see how enterprises scale this, you'll never run your agents without schema validation again. But first, let's start with the problem. AI models are storytellers at heart. They love to improvise. They love to add fluff. But when you ask them for a strict structure, they often break the rules. Think of it like asking a poet to fill in a government tax form. Beautiful language, but useless formatting. A simple missing comma, a single misnested bracket, and your downstream tools fail. It doesn't matter how smart your model is. If your outputs break the contract, your system is broken. Now, here's where the magic begins. JSON schema validation. When you wrap your model with a schema validator, every time it produces broken output, it's forced to retry until the structure matches. This isn't just a trick, cookie. This is reliability engineering for AI. Picture a customer service bot generating invoices. Without validation, one broken output could cost you thousands. But with schema retries, it's bulletproof. Real-world story. A fintech startup tried to launch an AI that generated compliance forms. First week, 38% of the outputs were invalid JSON. Their lawyers freaked out. They added JSON schema validation with retries. Error rate dropped to less than 2%. Their legal team approved production rollout within days. And here's the best part. This isn't complex rocket science. It's just structure. With tools like Pydantic in Python, you define a model with fields, types, and constraints. Think of Pydantic as a strict teacher. Every output must raise its hand, show its homework, and fit the exact format before class continues. No more name, maybe. No more age, 300 years old. Pydantic forces precision. And when you combine Pydantic with LangGraph or LangChain agents, the validation loop becomes automatic. If the model gives invalid output, the system says, try again. And it does, until it's valid. This retry cycle may seem small, but in production, it's a game changer. Here's a simple analogy. Imagine you're running a restaurant. Orders come in scribbled on napkins. Half the time the kitchen misreads them. Chaos, refunds, angry customers. Now replace the napkins with structured digital order forms. Every dish, quantity, and note is precise. No confusion, no chaos. That's JSON schema validation for AI. But wait, we're only scratching the surface. Because once you have structure, you unlock function calling. Think of function calling as giving your AI agent a safe steering wheel, instead of wandering aimlessly. It can directly trigger APIs with exact arguments. Imagine you ask your AI travel assistant, book me a flight to Tokyo next Monday. Without function calling, it might give you a lovely essay about the beauty of cherry blossoms. With function calling, it produces exact structured data. Destination, Tokyo. Date 2025-09-29. And your booking API gets triggered instantly. No ambiguity, no broken pipelines, just action. And here's the kicker. Enterprises use this every day. Uber uses structured outputs to route millions of rides. Shopify plugins rely on validation for orders. OpenAI's function calling feature was built for this exact reliability. But there's a dark side. If you let models call functions freely, they could trigger dangerous or malicious requests. Picture an AI assistant asked to delete all users. If no guardrails exist, the system might obey and wipe an entire database. That's why guard nodes and safety checks are critical. They act like bouncers at a club, checking IDs before letting anyone in. If the input is malformed, malicious, or just weird, it gets rejected. This is how enterprises trust AI in mission-critical pipelines. Netflix doesn't risk your recommendation engine calling random APIs. Banks don't let AI trigger wire transfers without validation. Guardrails are the unsung heroes of safe scaling. Now let's talk about scaling. A small startup may only process hundreds of outputs a day. But at enterprise scale, millions of outputs flow every hour. One invalid JSON at that scale could cascade into hours of downtime, costing millions. That's why structured outputs, validation, retries, and guardrails are not optional. They're survival tools. Think about airplanes. We don't hope the autopilot reads commands correctly. We enforce strict schemas for every signal. AI systems deserve the same discipline. And here's where the money comes in. Creators, developers, and businesses who master structured outputs open the door to monetization. Imagine selling a SaaS product that validates customer inputs automatically, offering bulletproof APIs with AI-driven error recovery, or launching an AI micro product that guarantees 99.9% structured compliance, a huge differentiator in a crowded market. Even freelancers can benefit. Imagine pitching to a client. I don't just build chatbots. I build reliable chatbots that never break your pipeline. Instant authority. Reliability sells. And here's the cliffhanger. Most developers don't know this yet. They still let their agents roam free, producing essays when APIs need JSON, crashing workflows when a bracket goes missing. Which means, if you're watching this, you're already ahead of 90% of them. But let's push this even further. What if, instead of just validating after generation, we trained models to internalize schemas? Research is emerging right now. Fine-tuning LLMs with structured preference data, teaching them to think in schemas from the start. Early experiments show reduction in retry loops by up to 40%. That means faster responses, lower costs, and even higher reliability. This is where the future is heading. Schema-native models. So, let's recap the journey. Naive outputs break pipelines. JSON schemas force retries until valid. Pydantic enforces strict typing. LangGraph integrates the loop. Function calling connects models to APIs safely. Guardrails prevent malicious calls. And scaling demands all of it. The result? Enterprise-grade reliability and monetizable trust. And now, it's your turn. Download the free workbook linked below, packed with schema templates, Pydantic models, and guardrail checklists. Use it to upgrade your own projects, or pitch it to clients as your secret weapon. Comment structure ready below, and I'll drop a bonus validator checklist I personally use. If you found this valuable, hit that like button, subscribe to Grow Your Life with AI, and don't miss the next episode where we explore agentic orchestration at scale. Because once your outputs are reliable, your entire AI system becomes unstoppable.